Okay, kids, so today I am going to try to make Yorkshire pudding. Now, when I first saw this online, it sounded like it was supposed to be like pudding, but it's not. So I saw it. I thought it'd be interesting. It doesn't have any sugar in it, which means it's something that Dad and I can eat because we're trying to watch that. But I wanted to show you what ingredients we've got. Okay, this thing evidently is pretty simple. It calls for 5 eggs, half and half, that's a cup, some AP flour, and some kosher salt. So we got one bowl for the wet ingredients here, another bowl for the dry ingredients here, and we're going to mix those together. First, wet and dry, and then add dry to wet, and whip it up real good, and we'll show you the process here in just a minute. Okay, so we got the wet ingredients together and the dry ingredients together, and the recipe I'm following came from an online source. It says to take this right here and to whip it really till it's foamy and frothy. I'm going to try to do that without making a mess. That may be interesting. So I'm going to whip on this some more until it gets a little more foamy, and then we'll see the incorporation of the wet and dry ingredients here in just a moment. Okay, I can tell you this right now, that if you did this very often, you'd have some great arms, because getting this stuff foamy and frothy in the bowl is quite a workout. So, it looks like it's pretty good here, so I'm going to start. It says to sift, but I don't have a sifter, so we'll just add a little bit at a time here and see what we can do here. Okay, it looks like it's going to be like a super thin type pancake dough. Okay, there we go, a little more. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's going to be like a thin pancake dough or a crepe batter. Or a crepe batter, depending on how you want to pronounce that. A little bit more. Now, I've done a couple of different researches on this, and it looks like from what most of the people who have done this before, they recommend it being set in the refrigerator or set aside for about a half an hour and then put in the refrigerator for a day. They say the flavor is better. So that's what we're going to do. So this is part 1, and we'll get the rest of this taken care of. I've got a quart jar here and we'll stick it into in the refrigerator, and we'll see what this does tomorrow when we start to cook it. So today is day 2 of the Yorkshire pudding. Let me show you what I've gotten so far as prep. Okay, today we only need a couple things. One, we need some beef fat, which is what's in that jar. I've saved it from a pot roast I fixed once upon a time and put it in the fridge. And I've got some of that right now warming up, because typically this is made with a pot roast that you've already been cooked or cooking, and this goes along with it. But since I don't have that today, I'm just using the beef fat that what we had from earlier. So I have it melting, which is what we need. We need about a teaspoon or so in the bottom of each one of these muffin holes. In this muffin tin that we have, it's a 12-packer here. Let me turn it around so you can see. So it's a 12-pack. And as soon as the beef fat gets warm, we're going to put some of that in there. We're going to get the batter out of the fridge. It looks really pretty. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so there is the batter that I just took out of the fridge. I'll move the muffin tin so you can see that. I don't know if you can tell this or not, but look how bubbly that has gotten. That has sat in overnight since yesterday when I've worked this up. And it's been in there just chilling out. Haha, that's kind of a funny joke, isn't it? Anyhow, it's just been chilling out in there, and we're going to put that in the tins here in just a little bit as soon as the oven's preheating to 450, and I'll show you what's going on with that here in just a moment. So the beef fat is warming up on the stove, but check this out. I wanted to show you that. Look what all kind of bubble this is starting to happen in there. It's evidently started to ferment. I don't know all the chemical process, but it seems to make sense. Milk has a tendency of making fermented type doughs, like for sourdough and such like that. But look how pretty that is. Boy, and it's golden. It's gorgeous. So we're going to pour that in our tins here in just a minute. The beef fat has rendered on the stove, and it has melted like it would have been at the oven from the pot roast. And I'm going to pour about a teaspoon or so in each one of the 12 muffin tin cups. and then put it in the oven, 450. It says to put it in there until it's about to smoke. I have no idea how long that's going to take, so I'll be back in a bit. Hopefully I don't need the fire extinguisher. Okay, they're out of the oven. I hope I left them in long enough. Let's see what happens when I pour. Oops, probably not hot enough because it's supposed to sizzle, so that's okay. We're just going to keep filling them up until we get them all full here, about 2/3 or so. And then we're going to pop it back in the oven. That batter looks really pretty. And putting everything in this quart jar makes it so easy to manage. I'm really glad I did that yesterday when I prepared the batter. As you can see, when I'm pouring the batter in there, hopefully you can see that the beef fat is curling up around the outside area of the dough, which means it's going to get really crisp on the outside there. Oh, there we go. Okay, a little bit more, and then I'll pop these puppies back in the oven. Oh yeah, there we go. We're good. We're doing good. Hey, what do you know about that? I might have to scrape that last little bit out. Okay, so it's been like about 12 minutes, and I stepped away for just a few minutes to check and do something else, and came back, and wow, was I surprised. These things have puffed up like 3 times the size of the batter that was put in the pan, and they look and smell amazing. Okay, we're about 1 minute more on the counter on the timer, and I'll show you what they look like, but they look amazing. And if they taste as good as they look, then this is going to be fabulous. Stand by. Okay, so are you ready? So with anticipation, I show you this. These things are amazing. Check this out. They are starting to deflate, but the thing is they look amazing. This guy here was about, oh, we can tell we did the smoke alarm. Well, they're done, and they deflated, and I have disarmed the fire smoke detector. That's happened right when it came out of the oven, but let me show you what they look like. Here we go. They have deflated, yes, but they still look very tasty. We're going to try them out here in a little bit. Hope you try it and enjoy it. Be blessed.